Howdy, folks. I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. Some Saturday morning Reddit. Alright, folks, our first letter on the Saturday morning special is titled, Am I a Jerk for Wanting to Stick to Rigid Gender Roles? I'm a 34-year-old female, and I've been married to my husband, a 38-year-old male, for 10 years now, and we have a 9-year-old daughter together. Well, when COVID hit, I lost my job. Because I was used to being busy, I poured all of my time and efforts into housemaking. My husband loved coming home to a clean house, a cooked dinner, and a wife that was not stressed. I used to work in retail as an introvert. It was terrible. Keep in mind that I was still providing financially from my savings. Well, last year I got back to work. Like I mentioned, I don't like having nothing to do, and with my daughter in school, I got bored with staying home. I was lucky to find a job that allowed me to work from home, and I have flexible hours. Well, my husband, on the other hand, hated not having a housewife. After a lot of arguments, me staying with my parents for a couple weeks, and him refusing couples counseling, I came up with the idea. I asked him what he liked about having a housewife, and he mostly said what I mentioned above. So I told him that I will be taking charge of the home and child rearing, but in exchange, he has to take care of our expenses on his own like a true breadwinner. And he agreed. For the last 9 months or so, I stuck to my side of the deal. The house is always clean. I make breakfast, I pack his lunch, have dinner ready when he gets home, help my daughter with her homework, etc. The thing is this, I am still working and earning money. It's just that now that the money is mine to do with whatever I want, no longer am I helping with splitting the cost of the bills and groceries. Last month, I went ahead and I got myself a car upgrade, and that was like I flipped a switch. Now he is saying that he wants to go back to how things were, and I refused. I said that I like how things are now. And he said that rigid gender roles have no place in a modern relationship. So I said that he should go invent a time machine and tell that to his past self from a year ago. He got upset with me and he left home to cool off. And I think that I was a jerk for how I phrased it. So, am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. Your husband demanded that you do the housework. You found a compromise. Now he's upset.
Yeah, the thing is, he would still be in the same financial position if you were just working from home, not working from home, but doing only chores, right? So it's not like your financial position would be any better or his would be any better.
Well, it sounds like he was expecting her to pay from her savings, which is not how that things should work in a
Yeah,
partnership. Like,
yeah.
he's been undervaluing your labor. The
Mm-hmm.
labor you do in the house is worth money.
Yeah.
And it's worth you keeping the salary that you're getting. Like, I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing because you're doing all of this additional labor.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think that's a really good point about the whole she was taking out of her savings account in order to help pay off the household expenses. That was completely uncalled for, actually. And I mean, again, if you're a partner, you should be working with your partner. And if one of them isn't employed, I mean, certainly there needs to be some kind of divide of how bills are split. But if she's working, doing all of the house chores and taking from her savings, I don't really think that's an equitable split in
Mm-hmm.
that particular case.
And it seems like that's what he wanted. Was he wanted her to keep paying, but also do all the work. And that's not the traditional
Mm-hmm.
division of labor either. Anyway, like, and so like this isn't rigid gender roles in that OP has found an arrangement that works for her, and
Yeah.
she's earning money. She's happy, and he's only upset. It feels like because he sees her getting things that he wants, and it's
Yeah.
this like I'm missing out now.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's really what it boils down to. And I think that you actually brought up a really good point about the whole rigid gender roles, because this isn't rigid gender roles, right? Because she is doing the housework, but she's also earning money. And so that really wouldn't be part of that whole rigid gender roles thing because she's doing accounting work.
Yeah.
And that's a comment in the comments below is that she's actually an accountant. And that wouldn't be considered a traditional, feminine job. So it's not like she's, dressing in a bonnet and spinning wool and all kinds of things here, right? Whatever you want to classify as traditional gender roles.
And I get a sneaking suspicion that if they were to go back, he would kind of like slack and still expect OP to do the majority of the work.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
doesn't benefit her. Like, I don't know, it just seems like he wants to have everything his way.
Yeah, that's really what it feels like. And I guess like the moral of the story is be careful what you wish for because you might get it. And I think that's really what this boils down to. It's like he wanted this. He wanted her to be a stay-at-home mom, and he got that. But then now he's not happy with it because he sees her also managing her money in a different way. And there's nothing that stops him from going and getting a second job or a different job for that matter if he's not happy with his current job. But I do think that they, as a couple, they should sit down and work through couples therapy
Yeah.
and figure out an arrangement that they both mutually benefit from.
Yeah, I think definitely having a third party to mediate it, an
Hmm.
unbiased third party, because like I think it's gonna be hard to come to an agreement on their own
Yeah.
because he is being so, and he's rejected counseling, so he'll probably reject this again. But it sounds like he's very hard headed
Yeah.
and won't be open to suggestions, which is a problem.
Yeah. So that's kind of my thought there. I think that this is a little bit problematic, but the situation as a whole is problematic, but I don't think that OP is doing anything wrong here. That's my thoughts. Let me know what you folks think. Anyhow, take care and good luck. And Sierra Chan says, not the jerk, I'm sorry, but I laughed so hard at this. Now that you seem to profit from the whole package deal, he wants to back out. God forbid you getting something nice for yourself after you treat him like a king and cater to his demands and literally being a wife, a mother, and a maid. You're being a full-time housewife and a work-from-home job too? Good on you, bravo. That can't be easy to manage. I think it's only natural that you get to keep your profits to yourself. He agreed to the deal. Of course, it might be a good idea to talk this over in a calm and adult manner with your husband because you'll have to either find a compromise or move out. Living in a household where the parents are on bad terms with each other isn't ideal. Perhaps he's been trying to save for something and he desperately wants it, and seeing you just up and make such a large sum of money set him off. I think it's a jealousy thing fueling this. Try to have an open discussion and see if he opens up with you. Who knows where it might lead? And OP replies, you might be surprised how easy it is to keep on top of the housework once you work out a system. I spend maybe less than 2 hours a day, except on Saturdays, which are grocery shopping, food prepping days, on all household work, including cooking. And I want to have an adult conversation. That's why I feel like the jerk for going the petty / passive aggressive route. Hopefully they can get their adult conversation. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, breaking from my Saturday morning tradition because it's actually Friday evening. And Amber has a joke.
What did one goat say to the other goat?
The one goat said to the other goat, hey, buddy, I can't believe you're talking because you're a goat. And then the other goat replied to him, bah. And then the goat was like, oh my goodness, it's me. And then that was it.
I'm going to modify this slightly. It's 9 p.m. Do you know where your kids are? The joke just says, do you know where your kids are? But
I
it
see.
reminded me of those, 90s ads.
Yeah, yeah. And I have licorice spice. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope that you're all having a great Saturday or Saturday morning or whenever you're watching this. And I hope your weekend is going fabulously. Take care, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.